The emotional manipulator, illuminating their tactics and how they clash with our tenets. Consider the individual who, when you set a boundary, perhaps stating you can't work late on a particular evening, unleashes a torrent of tears and accusations. They might sob dramatically, claiming you don't care about the team or their well-being, even if your refusal is based on a prior commitment or personal need. This intense emotional display isn't a genuine expression of hurt, it's a calculated maneuver to make you feel guilty and cave to their request. They are weaponizing your empathy and discomfort with their distress to override your self-determination, tenet IV, sovereignty of choice. The sheer force of their emotion is intended to bypass rational discussion and force immediate compliance, serving their unfocused want for their immediate need to be met, regardless of your own priorities. Imagine another scenario involving a friend who consistently uses anger to control situations. If you disagree with their opinion or suggest an alternative plan, they might erupt in a fit of rage, yelling, making threats, or giving you the silent treatment. This outburst isn't a productive expression of disagreement, it's a tactic to shut down dissent and ensure their will prevails. The fear of triggering their anger becomes a powerful motivator for others to conform, effectively ceding their own choices and desires, tenet IV, sovereignty of choice. Their unfocused want for control manifests as volatile emotional outbursts, disrupting the potential for rational discourse and hindering any collaborative pursuit of goals, tenet V, necessity of removal. Furthermore, consider the partner who uses feigned joy and exaggerated enthusiasm to pressure you into impulsive decisions. They might suddenly announce a grand, expensive plan, showering you with affection and painting a picture of idyllic happiness if you agree immediately. If you express hesitation or a desire to consider the implications, they might deflate, accusing you of being negative or not trusting them. This manipulative tactic leverages your desire for connection and happiness, rushing you into a commitment before you can fully assess its alignment with your own focused wants. Their unfocused want for immediate gratification and validation overrides the need for thoughtful consideration and mutual agreement. As Oculi Abyssi, observing these scenarios with vigilance, tenet 7, we recognize the calculated nature behind these emotional displays. We see that the intensity of the emotion is often disproportionate to the situation, serving as a tool for coercion rather than genuine communication. We cultivate a strategic indifference to these dramatic performances, refusing to be swayed by the turbulent tides of their unfocused emotions. Our decisions are guided by our reasoned assessment and the unwavering pursuit of our focused desires, not by the manipulative emotional pressures exerted by others. True connection, as our tenets guide us, is built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding, not on the coercive power of unchecked emotional displays, tenet 8. Let us now turn our attention to the fourth variation of these emotional leeches, the moral high ground player. This type of manipulator wields virtue and righteousness as their weapon. They often loudly proclaim their empathy for certain groups or causes, positioning themselves as morally superior and creating social pressure for others to conform to their views. Their tactics involve leveraging the desire to be seen as a good person, turning empathy and compassion into tools of control and judgment. Consider an individual who frequently posts on social media about their unwavering support for a particular marginalized group. They might use highly emotional language and publicly shame anyone who expresses a differing opinion or even a nuanced perspective. Their pronouncements often lack genuine engagement with the complexities of the issue, serving instead as a performance of moral superiority. This tactic forces others into silence or agreement for fear of being labeled as insensitive or morally deficient, tenet 2. Illusion of unfocused emotion. They use heightened emotional appeals to shut down rational discourse. Their unfocused want is often social validation and control over the narrative, achieved by positioning themselves as the ultimate arbiter of virtue. This can stifle genuine dialogue and hinder the pursuit of truth and understanding, tenet V. Necessity of removal. Their rigid moralizing can impede open discussion and individual thought. Another manifestation of the moral high ground player is the constant pronouncement of what should be done, often without taking any concrete action themselves. They might criticize others for not doing enough, while their own involvement is limited to vocal pronouncements of moral outrage. This creates a sense of guilt and inadequacy in those who are actually engaged in the work, diverting their energy towards defending their actions rather than focusing on their goals. Tenet 3. Burden of unearned empathy. They demand moral alignment without demonstrating shared striving. Their unfocused want is often to feel superior without the effort of genuine engagement. Furthermore, the moral high ground player might use carefully chosen language and framing to paint any opposition to their views as morally reprehensible. They might label those who disagree as hateful, ignorant, or uncaring, effectively shutting down any possibility of constructive debate. This tactic leverages the fear of social ostracization and the desire to be seen as morally upright, forcing compliance with their viewpoint. Tenet IV. Sovereignty of choice. They attempt to dictate thought and behavior through moral coercion. As Oculi Abyssi, our vigilance compels us to see through these performances of virtue. Tenet 7. Vigilance of the abyss. We understand that true empathy and ethical action often involve nuanced understanding and genuine engagement, not simply loud pronouncements of moral superiority. We cultivate a strategic indifference to these self-righteous displays, focusing instead on genuine connection and demonstrable action. Tenet 8. The earned bond. Our pursuit of focused want is guided by our own reasoned understanding and principles, not by the coercive moralizing of those who seek to control through virtue signaling.